This is Government News, brought to you by the GCIS.
Making news headlines this hour. President Zuma to lay wreath at the cell where Biko died, and Minister Gigaba to deliver his inaugural medium-term budget policy statement. I'm Joanne Cornelissen. South Africans are using the month of September to remember, celebrate and preserve the legacy of Black consciousness movement leader, intellectual and liberation struggle hero Stephen Bantu Biko. Biko died in custody as a result of police brutality on 12 September 1977. This year, the country marks the 40th anniversary of his passing. To commemorate this sad episode in the history of the South African struggle for liberation, President Jacob Zuma will visit Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Centre tomorrow to lay a wreath at the cell in which Biko died. Spokesperson for the presidency, Bongani Ngulunga, had this to say.
President Jacob Zuma has called on all South Africans to remember, celebrate and preserve the legacy of Black consciousness movement leader, intellectual and liberation struggle hero, Mr. Stephen Bantu Biko, who died in police custody as a result of police brutality on 12 September 1977 as the country marks the 40th anniversary of his passing. To mark this sad episode in the history of the South African liberation struggle, President Jacob Zuma will visit Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Centre tomorrow and lay a wreath at the cell in which Mr. Biko died. President Jacob Zuma has said Biko's leadership and ideals inspired not only South African liberation struggle activists in South Africa, but also many leaders and activists across the continent and the world who pursued an anti-racist, anti-colonial and anti-imperial agenda. The president said Mr. Biko fought white supremacy and was equally disturbed by what he saw as an inferiority complex amongst black people. He emphasized the need for psychological liberation for black people to accompany physical liberation to undo the damage caused by apartheid. He advocated black pride and black